Have some union siblings from Unite Here. Unite Here is a service workers union that we really look to as a powerhouse union when it comes to political power. So this is Denise Jackson and Maria Hernandez who'll say a little more about the work they did this November. We have Gabe Hodgkin from Carolina Federation, our gold, the political director who helped with these campaigns, and then we have none other than, last but not least, give it up for Reverend Rodney Sadler, who won House 106. We're super honored and excited to have all of these folks. So, the first question, I was thinking folks could introduce themselves a little bit, what they did, and then speak just a little bit to why were these races so important? Why did y'all's local and your union and organization prioritize these races? Just to set the stage, and then we'll go from there.
The campaign to elect Reverend Rodney Sadler, it was very good because, as it's been said before, Carla Cunningham was a 7-term incumbent, and there were no Republicans challenging this race, but it was very important to unseat her because she didn't follow our values, or she wasn't going to be for the working class. You know, to vote 85% of the time with the Republicans was unheard of. And I heard some of the hurting things that she said. What was so good, we had, well, I'm going to save that for the next question. But it was just great to serve on that campaign, and we were very honored that we have Reverend Sadler in that seat in the House of Representatives in North Carolina.
Hi, my name is Maria Hernandez. I work at the airport. I'm one of the shop stewards. And I was also with my friend here for Rodney Sadler. And my reason was that I went out because of my Latino community. We've been targeted so many times. And we even had drones, they fly drones over our area. And to me, it was a big thing that Mr. Sadler won. I mean, a lot of people in my community, when they found out he won, they cried. They were so happy. Thank you.
Hey everybody, good morning. My name's Gabe. I'm the political director at Carolina Federation. I also served as Reverend Dr. Rodney Sadler's campaign manager. Yeah, really honored to be here with y'all today. I think I'll share by way of introduction that so Carolina Federation, we're a statewide independent political organization, and we are organizing folks to fight for a state that works for working people, that's y'all, and not the billionaires. And in order to get there, we are clear that working people need to be the ones calling the shots at every level. And it's not enough just to bring demands to the people who've already been elected. We need to be actually deciding who gets elected. Y'all need to be deciding who gets elected. And it's not enough to just do that when election time comes. So much of the decision happens long before it's in the process of deciding who's on the ballot, of deciding who runs in the first place. So one of the most exciting things that many of the folks up here and many of the folks out there were up to together this past year was actually working people together, deciding who y'all want to ask to run for what. Rodney did not decide to run lightly and was not jumping up and down to run. I'm sure he can share a little bit about that too. That actually the first conversation, almost a year ago now, with Rodney about, hey, we want to explore this, was with a group of member leaders in Unite Here, in NCAE, some Carolina Federation folks, sitting, like worker leaders, sitting down and meeting with Rodney, and Rodney said from jump, hey, I'm down to run if y'all ask me, and I'm down not to run if y'all ask me not to. And this is, so one of the most exciting things going on there in Charlotte, over in Durham, and across the state, was for the first time, through our organizations, through worker leaders coming together, actually deciding to run prophetic visionary candidates who will fight for working people, not the billionaires, and we want to keep building on that.
Good morning. How are we all doing today? Excellent, excellent. I just want to say I'm incredibly happy to be here today. You know why? Because we won. I want you to know that I was very much reluctant to run for any office, particularly the General Assembly. The first time I went to the General Assembly, I got arrested, so it was not my favorite place. But one thing that I remember that old statement from the Serenity Prayer, help me to accept those things I cannot change. I love the amended version of that. Help me to change those things I cannot accept. When I looked at what was going on in the General Assembly, there's a whole lot going on there that I cannot accept, that we cannot accept. And I began to realize, the more I talked with such wonderful folks who said that it's not going to be you that's running. We are going to run. And you don't have to worry about winning because we will win together. So I've been incredibly impressed to see the efforts that's been put into this. I want to say thank you to NCAE, I always get this backwards, AE, for the support that you all gave on this campaign, for the doors that you knocked, for the people that you talked to, for the support that you all gave. That's been amazing. I want to say thank you to Unite here because, Lord have mercy, how many thousands, hundreds of thousands, I don't know how many doors you knocked, but it's amazing to see this effort. And I'm just going to say this one time, he can deny it if he wants to. If you all want to win elections, replicate and follow this damn idea. I have a feeling that Gabe will one day be running campaigns for presidential candidates if he don't want to run himself. They will be victorious. The work that he organized, getting Adrian and everyone together, coordinating it, was amazing. And one thing I learned from this, and you'll probably talk about this later on, we don't have to worry about winning. We don't have to think that winning is beyond us. We know if we come together, then guess what happens? We will win. I'm just grateful that we have such a team that has shown in North Carolina that when the people come together, we will win. Say that with me. We will win. Say it again. We will win. Amen. Thank you.
All right, very good. I'm actually going to stay with you, Reverend Sadler. So we just heard, right, unprecedented kind of teamwork going on to make this possible. And I want to hear quickly from you. Walk us through. Gabe mentioned the partnerships, the being asked by the organizations. Like how did you build those partnerships, and then what did it look like to keep those running in terms of your campaign tactics, and how do you think it impacted the outcome?
All I can say is that I don't know the half of the story. I don't know the half of what was going on outside with other groups that were working. All I know is that there was an alliance of people on the inside and then a group of people that we could not contact on the outside that were working for a common goal. I think that's one of the points. If we have a common goal, if we have a vision for something that we want to achieve, then that vision can be manifest. If we work together towards that collective vision, then that change is possible. And that's what I saw going on. It was wonderful to see the inside campaign gain and the strategy that was going on, the meetings that were going on, how people were always at the table. People kept coming back, and I wish we could pay everyone, but people were coming back who were volunteers that were saying, we want change to come. It was the collective commitment of many people for a common vision that I think gave us the kind of victory that we saw. And I have to admit, the day that we won, We're sitting there looking at the TVs. I kept saying, "Oh, we've got a good lead in the early voting, but that's not going to hold up during the election." We had what, 73%, and then we won. It was 70%. I was like, "Oh my God! Look what was able to be done." But that was because the people persistently, consistently kept working, kept knocking doors, kept calling people, kept working on pamphlets and envelopes and everything they could do to get the word out, and change came. I'm just grateful for that.
Fantastic. And then for my folks down the line, I'm curious if y'all want to speak to, so we call this the Political Power Unionism Panel, and that we assigned our SMOs and our Battleground Summer Canvassers a reading about it, but it's essentially, right, talking about working people's organizations need to build independent political power, right? Have that independent initiative that Gabe spoke to. So if y'all could share a little bit about, from your organization's perspective or your own perspective, what made this campaign and this work this year in Charlotte and in Durham distinct from other efforts? And we could pass it down, or popcorn, feel free, whoever's ready to go. But what made it distinct, and how did it feel more powerful, and what did it make feel more possible for the future? Like, what was different about this march than other efforts where we maybe endorsed somebody?
What was different about this campaign is that Carla Cunningham, first of all, was a 7-year incumbent. No one thought she could be upseated. We had a lot of young people who had not voted and were at the voting age. We took everybody out to vote. And as they knocked doors and began to talk to the people about what mattered most to them, the issues like affordable housing, health care, the school system, and they began to understand more what this race was about. In Charlotte, this was the first November that we had snow. They were out knocking doors in the snow with hand warmers and gloves and all of the things in their boots, and they didn't give up. They didn't tire. And I think that made us stronger, and it strengthened our younger people to see what this political party is about. And it was just wonderful to see, and they knocked doors, some doors 2 or 3 times. They encouraged people to make a voting plan, encourage them to get out and vote, and if you need to, we'll come back and get you to the polls. So it really made a difference that they were so involved.
And I also think that just from being on the doors that everybody felt like Reverend Sal was approachable, and he ran on his slogan, put the people first, and love. So I really believe that had something to do with people wanting to go out and vote, because he was so approachable, and he didn't only just say what he was going to do, he showed what he was going to do.
Let's see, a lot, like what made this different, more exciting than just endorsing somebody who decided to run and seemed better than the other bad options. A lot of things. I want to first just shout out Unite Here. Actually, several of us, I know Ray, you were involved, and Adrian, you were involved, and our coworker, our Durham union sibling, Leah, also was part of this a couple falls ago, but Unite Here has a really, is known, I don't know if y'all know, but across the country for a really powerful political program where union members, it's a regular practice of their union to go on release from work to do electoral work and run really strong campaigns. So it was one of our union siblings, Leah, got a chance to learn from y'all in Charlotte a couple Novembers ago, and then they were in Durham, like kind of taking some of that knowledge to help be the field lead for one of our school board members' campaigns. So just like want to shout out that opportunity to Skillshare and trade and learn from other unions, and that really powerful program. I think this was a really powerful opportunity, and we saw this in fall 2024, and then again, like to really see how we can turn build worksite structure and build union majorities, and then take that and turn it into political power. Because the same structure that we used to, you know, when our coworkers got their raise taken away, go and we have 5,000 workers in Durham, and so, you know, when a crisis is going down, like being able to reach and have two-way conversation with 3,000 people in a week, you know, that's because of having a really strong structure with teams at each building. You know, you take that hallway, Nikki's got that hallway, you know, we just got that hallway, I'll talk to my 10 people and report back. So we worked that same structure to make sure everybody knew what was going on, you know, how to plan to vote if they were voting in Durham, and then to invite people from our buildings to come out and actually knock doors with us. Hey, you don't like the way the school board continues to not listen to us, continues to take admin's word over ours, you know, okay, come out and knock doors and let's get a better school board. And it was, you know, I think a lot of us in this room have sucked it up and gone to knock doors for candidates that we know are better than the alternative, and that's very important. But to actually be out in the community with Shemaya, you know, Maggie, everybody was out there. We were talking to our neighbors about our neighbors who were running for this local office that was affecting our kids, our families. You know, I loved getting on the door and being like, oh, you go to Githens, do you know Mr. Ghost, do you know Miss Clifford, and you know, or like those kind of conversations were happening, and we were reporting back. It was just a very powerful experience, and we won, like Mr. Tyler said, 70% margin, right? And we also defeated an incumbent, like you had shared as well, that people didn't think could be beat, who was pretty popular and well liked. Generally, but I think it was powerful to see the way we raise expectations for our coworkers about how our conditions are not okay and should be better. We helped raise expectations for our community that it's not enough to just be nice and say nice things. You actually have to vote the way workers want you to, and you have to get off the fence. And so that was very powerful.
Let's get Gabe first, and then maybe if Maria wanted to add anything, and Ray, and then we'll come back to you, Denise.
She said we don't need to.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody who's shared so far. I want to just add one thing. What made this campaign different from other campaigns? We're among friends, so I'm going to be really direct about this. We're clear on a few things. One, our main opponents, our main enemies, are the racist, billionaire-backed right that are in control of the state right now, that are running our state legislature. They are absolutely the main people actively picking our people's pockets and attacking our people, terrorizing our communities. They are the main people we need to beat. And also, beating them is necessary, but it's not sufficient. This state, we had a Democratic majority for 50 plus years, and it was then that we wound up with a ban on public sector collective bargaining so that y'all don't get a seat at the table, a rock bottom minimum wage, laws that keep our counties and cities from raising their own wages, the list goes on. So it is necessary, but it is not enough to beat the right in this state. And we know that we need to be not just counting on either major political party to do that for us. Y'all need to be building your power to be able to do that yourselves. And so what was different about this campaign was that we were building that together. That we actually built together some of the early structures that we're gonna need to keep building on for y'all to recruit your own candidates, elect them, and govern with them. And one of those structures was the thing that I think you've heard mentioned a couple times that we've been talking about as the People's Bench and the People's Bench Committee. The People's Bench was, and is, a long-term cohort program of candidates like Rodney. There's actually another People's Bench member on the stage, Adrienne.
Hey, give it up, give it up.
People's Bench Committee member, several on the stage. So the People's Bench are folks who are making a long-term commitment to saying, yes, I'm down to be on deck to run specifically for the General Assembly if asked. And I'm not gonna make that decision in a silo on my own as a lone individual based on what I feel like running for when. Instead, I'm going to follow the leadership of these democratic membership organizations of working people. But I'm down to be on deck to run for General Assembly at some point between now and 2030. And those folks went through 6 months of monthly day-long trainings. It was quite intense. We wound up having, I think it was 10 candidates recruited through this process who ran, and of them, 8 won their primaries.
Give it for the People's Bench, everybody. This is a very exciting development for North Carolina politics and for our works.
And on this stage also, we have a number of members of the People's Bench Committee. This was the other structure that we need to be starting to build in order to get to the type of power we're fighting for. This was the structure of the member leaders across our organizations, including Unite, including a number of locals of NCAE, including all 4 chapters of Carolina Federation, who actually sent representatives to this committee to meet together and vote on who y'all are asking to run for what. So it was through building these structures together and building this power together that y'all were able to win 8 primaries across the state. And it will be through continuing to build that power that we're able to not just keep winning some primaries in a few places, but take over the whole dang state.
All right, make some noise if you want to run the working people's champion in your district or for your school board, right? Yeah, we should be doing that in all 100 counties in the state eventually. I want to go quickly since we're running short on time, and I think, Maria, you could start us on this one. I want to hear, we heard about structures, we heard about partnerships and how that was different. We heard about how important the candidates were in the races themselves, but could you share a little more personally, especially the union leaders up here, like engaging in this work? What did it mean for your leadership development? What did it mean for the leader and skill development of your union siblings? So yeah, can we focus there on like, how did doing the work this way help build the muscles and the skills of folks in your local?
Well, to me, it's an honor because my grandkids also helped Rodney. They were knocking on doors. I have 3 grandkids that are also involved with Unite Here, and they were knocking on doors. We had a lot of challenges. We had weather. We had clothes in our car. Whenever we were really wet, when it was snowing, we'd go to our cars, change our clothes, shoes, and keep going. There was one, because we're the only Latinos in Unite Here. There was one thing that when I walked away, they started calling me on the phone because, around that time, ICE was really strong. Sure. I walked away, they were calling me because they couldn't find me. And finally, I was talking to this lady that was in favor of Carla. And my phone kept ringing. I kept telling her, "Oh, I'm sorry, they're looking for me." And all of a sudden, one of the younger kids came running up to me and she hugged me. And she was teary-eyed. She goes, "Maria, we were looking for you. We were scared." And the lady at the door started crying. Yeah. She goes, "I can't believe they're scared. They were looking for you." I go, "Yes, because I'm the only Latina they have in the group." And they're like, "You know what?" She goes, "You're going to have my vote." She goes, "Because I didn't think it was this serious."
Wow.
What I learned from this was that we had so many young people, as I said, that didn't know a lot about politics. I think they entered the campaign because they were going to get paid, but they left there very differently in knowing the importance of getting involved in the political process. Because a lot of times if we don't know, we're more prone to just go out and vote for someone because they look like us. But that's not always the wise thing to do. You have to study the candidates. Well, we were on board with selecting who would run, and we just fell in love with Reverend Sadler. And I knew as a man of God, he had the right thing in his heart to do. So, but it taught them to get involved. Go knock doors, talk to your neighbors, Before that, you hear people say, "Oh, I don't like politics, so I'm just not gonna vote. My vote won't count anyway, but it does. I said if it didn't, they wouldn't be gerrymandering and trying to block your vote. So this is why we have to get involved. And there is strength and solidarity. All of us are important together. As one, we can't do much. But when we all come together, when we fight, we win.
When we fight,
We win!
when we fight,
We win!
I'll be brief. I feel like, you know, sometimes us as educators, we know that we can teach the world, right? But then you say, my voice doesn't count. I will say, for me, I've been known as the silent storm, right? But having the proper education for political views or whatever, having Gabe as a mentor and, you know, going through CMAE, I've actually have grown in doing this work. And so I went through People's Bench, and now, you know, I went through a program to become a campaign manager, and I know where I fit in, you know, and if I had to just sit back in the seat and just, like she said, voted for whoever I was told to and not got involved and seeing what happened from the back, I would have just stayed saying, well, I'll vote, but does it really count? I know that it does now. I know that all of us can take roles that you will be surprised you can do. And they'll push you where you think you can't be pushed. And, you know, I might not say much, but if you need me, I'm coming for you. So, like they say, if we fight,
We win!
I learned a lot about being loyal and what that looks like, and how that can show up, and even when things change, and that loyalty doesn't mean like loyalty to a person. So like the People's Bench, you know, I think is a really cool idea because it's not loyalty to a person, it's loyalty to the people. And that's what North Carolina needs. It's what the working class needs. And that was, you know, it's been eye-opening for me. I also learned from Gabe how to cut turf in a really cool way, and how to use band on the electoral side, which has been really fun, and like a lot of data stuff, which probably 90% of you don't think is cool, but I do.
we think it's cool. We need those skills. We think
So
it's very
I
cool.
learned a lot of like electoral skills and like the election side stuff that I hadn't gotten in the organizing stuff. So that part was really cool, and I actually had a lot of fun. So.
How did this level up the members in Durham? We gotta hear it.
I mean, a lot to say. It's hard to be succinct about it. I mean, I think there are lots of lessons learned, and I think the next phase is uncharted. This phase of co-governance, right?
Yep.
Because like just last night, we had a big vote. It was the new board members voted for the first time, had a kind of key decision for the first time, and I think it's like, you know, just because, I mean, I think y'all all know, you know, through the work that we do, we really learn how to test. Is a yes real?
Yep.
You know, your coworker said, oh, I'll come, yeah, I'll be there, and then they're not there, right? Okay, so what do I need to do differently to ask, okay, how are you gonna get there? Do you have, you know, just like those are the kind of things. And then the same with our electeds, you know. And I think, and it's really hard when you're in this elected office, everything around you is shaping, is pulling you to be conservative, to more conservative, to side with admin, to, you know, listen to those experts, to be, you know, to not ruffle feathers. I mean, that's what they're hearing from all the fellow electeds, from the political class, you know, and so I think we're now in a moment of like, we got these people elected. I think people are really counting on them to be accountable to base, and Last night, folks were disappointed with the vote. Our 3 new school board members all stayed really strong, but one of our folks on the board who we had thought would have the vote kind of got flipped, and so, just I think this period now, it's like, it doesn't end when the election is over. There's now the opportunity to continue to learn together about, okay, like, how do we make that go differently next time? Like, what happened for you that week? So I think that's the learning that's what's most live on my mind right now. Yeah.
Always learning, always pushing. So I want to close with one final question. We have some massive votes on the ballot in November, especially affecting public schools and our future, our kids' future. So folks out there might be seeing these numbers and thinking like, I can't in my local drive up, turn out 47% like us. So I'm curious, words of encouragement, words of wisdom, brief ones to close on, kind of like for all of our local leaders out here who might have a smaller team or might not have a whole network of unions to work with. Why do you think that this November some of this work is necessary and possible so that we can keep moving forward and winning races like Robbie's?
So y'all repeat after me, okay? We run our schools. We run our communities. We can run our state. Let's say it again. We run our schools. We run our communities. We can run our state.
Yeah, I think the same thing. We just need to talk to everyone. If we talk to everyone with the same message, it's in the bag. Like, if we can win these races just by knocking on doors and talking to our neighbors, that's all it is. We just have to talk to everybody, and then people will be on board.
Say we are the majority.
I think the lesson is very simple. I actually wrote it down because I wanted to be very clear. It's like, we don't wait for power, we build it. And March proved working people can pick our own candidates, and we win. So November is just the next door to knock on.
That's right.
I think what we can take from this is that at Local 23, when we're not running campaigns, we're building our union. And so you have to get out and build your union because there's strength in numbers. There's strength in solidarity. And when you can show them why we fight, make people more interested in the fight, then we can all fight together. And when we all fight together, we often have this example in our union of the big shark eating up the tiny little fish of all different kinds. And the thing is to keep those little fish separated, because as long as the shark keeps the little fish separated, he can overcome you all. But as you grow in strength and in numbers, you become so big, you start to eat the shark and to make the shark run. So that's what we have to remember, and let us grow our unions and grow in solidarity. Not just our unions, but in all unions coming together to fight.
I believe we can do it. Either we're small or big, we can do it because we're strong.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'll add is people are hungry for this. I mean, all those little fish are, you spend a minute, talking to people in your workplace or in the community or as they arrive at the polls. People are hungry to eat the shark right now. People are looking for something, so we got to go out there and find them and bring them together.